and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So here I have another currently inked video for this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the Pelikan M1000 Raden Starlight, the Pelikan M1000 Raden Sunlight, the Armando Simoni Club Bologna Extra Africa, the Armando Simoni Club Bologna Extra Black and Gold Lucents, the Visconti St. Basil, we have the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Maki-e, we have the Visconti Homo Sapiens Midnight in Florence, we have the Pilot Custom Urushi Vermilion, we have the Sailor King of Pen Pro Gear, and this is the Ocean. And then we have the Sailor King of Pen, and this is the Sakura Nagar. So let's go through these pens in a little bit more detail. So this is really the stunning Pelikan M1000 Raden Starlight, and this is a pen that I do love a lot. And it is a pen that I was lusting after for a couple of years, and so glad that I was able to pick this one up and add it to my collection. The M1000s are quite a nice pen. I do like the size of these pens in my hand. They are a lot lighter than what sort of I'm used to in some of my other pens, but I do like the size of them, and I do like these number 8 size nibs there. So this has the Pelikan number 8 size M1000 nib. These all come in a medium nib for the Raden versions of these pens, but these are really quite lovely material. And I'm so glad that I was able to pick this one up, because it was a pen that I was lusting after for several years, and you can just see why. This Raden is absolutely stunning. And it's just a pen that I wanted to add, and I thought I'd actually lost it. I didn't think I would ever pick up this pen and add it to my collection. And then a private seller came along and I was able to buy it from him. So I was really glad that I was able to do that and finally add it to my collection. And then the same really for this second one, which is the Pelikan M1000 Raden Sunlight. And this one probably actually shines a little bit more against the light that you can see there. But this really, again, is a gorgeous pen. And again, I didn't think that I would be able to add this one to my collection. I do really love these M1000 sizes, the nibs. The nibs I'm not as keen on as compared to maybe some of the Visconti nibs, or maybe even like the Pilot Custom Urushi nib perhaps, or even the Armando Simoni Club Bologna nibs. There's nothing wrong with the nibs, but I tend to find that they tend to write quite broad for what they are. Like a medium can easily write like a double broad, and for me, I don't know, like more lately I've been going towards finer nibs, and I guess I need to get back to these broader nibs, so that's why I've started writing with these a little bit more. But I do love these. I love these pens, and I do love the writing experience, but I do think that the medium nibs should write a little bit more like a Western medium. But for me, this is a beautiful, stunning pen, and you can just see that Raden sparkling there. It's just absolutely stunning. And then we have the Armando Simoni Club Bologna Extra Africa, and again another stunning pen, and I do love this material and I do love it a lot. I love the Armando Simoni Club Bologna Extras a lot as well. I do love the size of the pen, the weight of the pen, and this really is a large pen. It's not a small pen, and it comes with those number 8 size Bock Magic Flex nibs for Armando Simoni Club with an Ebonite feed there, but these nibs are really nice. Now, they do write more broad and very fire hose wet, but I do love them. So for me, I get a lot of questions about what I think about these Magic Flex nibs in terms of flexibility. I honestly don't find that they flex that much, to be honest. I honestly find that these really tend to sort of be a very slight flex and not a massive flex. Like if I compared it to say a Scribo feel, then I find that those nibs really are more flexy. Also nibs like the Pilot Custom 823, they tend to be, certainly the FA nibs tend to be quite flexy as well. But I do love the Magic Flex nibs. I love how they are super fire hose wet, and I'll show you this one here. This is the Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra Black and Gold Lucians I also have inked up this week. And again, this is another beautiful pen. I love the Lucians material. I have a Lucians in blue and I have it in this black and gold. And I do, again, like these number 8 Bock Magic Flex nibs. They are just really divine to write with. And the size and the weight of these are actually quite large as well. So it's just a pen that I love writing with. So I have that one inked up as well. And then there's a pen that I bought in February, and this is a set actually that I bought. I bought 2 of these. I bought a rollerball and I bought a fountain pen. And this is the Visconti Saint Basil. And this, again, this material is really gorgeous. The material is actually made, or the pen is made of celluloid, and this is the celluloid that was used on the Visconti Speakeasy. And then they added the St. Basil overlay here. Well, it's an overlay, but it's an inlay. So you might be able to see there that it doesn't protrude that much from the body of the pen, because they've actually etched the outline into the body there. So it's more of an inlay than an overlay. But it is absolutely gorgeous, and I love how my Speakeasy writes, and it's got a Visconti 23 cat palladium nib on, and so does this. So this, you have it's a Powervac filler, it's a double reservoir, and then you have the 23 cat palladium nib there, and it's a medium nib. But it writes really, really well. So I do like this. I love writing with it. It's a beautiful pen. So for me, I have that one inked up this week, and you can see that if you think the Armando Simone Club Bologna Extras are actually large pens, look at the girth of this St. Basil. And it actually dwarfs the Visconti Homo Sapien range of pens as well. Now there's this pen, and this is a pen that I managed to pick up somewhat recently in the summer of 2020. This is the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina, and this is an absolutely gorgeous pen. So it's made from this same Acrysilk material that you see on the Medici, not the Il Magnifico, just the regular Medici. But then you have this scrimshaw, so you have Leonardo da Vinci signature there. And then you have all of this, and this is a scrimshaw, and you can just see the amount of detail that goes into that pen. Now, you can actually, if you rub your finger over it, you can feel the texture. So even though I believe it's lacquered over sort of a ivory resin material, you can still feel it there. And this comes with one of the new style 18 karat gold Visconti nibs, and this is really quite a nice nib. I do like how it writes. Now, a lot of people ask me, do these newer Visconti nibs, or even the older Visconti gold nibs, do they have a lot of bounce like some of the palladium nibs? And it's a difficult question to answer, because I find that I have a number of the older 14 karat gold nibs and 18 karat gold nibs, and they are not as flexible as some of my 23 karat palladium nibs. Equally, I have some 23 karat palladium nibs that are not as flexible and quite rigid. this, I would say, is slightly more flexible than my other 18 karat gold nibs, but I do find it's not as flexible as some of my 23 karat palladium nibs. Now, this is a medium nib, and this medium nib, you probably see that, is very fine. And honestly, I find the medium writes more like a fine nib. And I've heard that from many other people as well with these newer nibs. But I just love this pen. This pen is gorgeous. So I have that one inked up today as well. And then I have the lovely Visconti Homo Sapiens Midnight in Florence. And this, again, is a beautiful pen. It's a purple pen, and it's one I avoided for a long time, and I honestly don't know why. I know the reasons why, because most of this material here, the purple, covered the body of most of the pens, and for me, I wanted something that was more clearer, like the London Fog. But to be honest, I still love this. I really do love this pen, and I absolutely love how this 23 karat palladium nib writes. It writes gorgeously wet, and it's a really beautiful pen. So for me, I have that one inked up this week, and I've been writing with it. And then we have this one, and this is the Pilot Custom Urushi in the Vermilion. Vermilion as in red. And this really is a beautiful pen. It's a lovely, lovely lacquered pen. And it is a massive pen as well. You can see here in my hand, it is a real marker size of a pen. And it comes with this number 30 nib. And this is the equivalent of around about a number 9 or a number 10 size Western nib. But it is a really, really lovely nib, and I'm glad that I've got this and I was able to add this to my collection. So for me, that's a Pilot that I do love. And then we have this one, and this, I've been looking at this for about a year when it came out. This is a Sailor King of Pen, and this is the Pro Gear version, and it's a limited edition Ocean. And I keep looking at this, and I do like the Sailor King of Pens, and I have 3 now, if you count the classic pens LB5. And I love these Sailor King of Pen nibs. I love the medium nibs, and they tend to write a little bit more like a Western Fine. And I do find this one, though, the Pro Gear, is a little bit more shorter for me. Now, I don't still need to post the cap, although I could do if I wanted to, but I don't need to. And I managed to pick this up with a bit of a discount, so I decided I was going to pick it up, and I was glad that I did, because as soon as I did, it was sold out. So this literally was the last version of the pen in a medium nib that the retailer had. So for me, I am very glad that I picked that one up and had the chance to add that to my collection. And then last but not least, we have another Sailor King of Pen, and this is the Sakura Nagar, and this is a beautiful maki-e Raden pen. You can just see how it shines there. Beautiful, beautiful pen. And again, this comes with a Sailor King of Pen nib. These are cartridge converters, and again, this is a broad nib, whereas the Ocean was a medium nib. But I do love how it writes, and this is another pen that I enjoy writing with a lot. To be honest, I'm actually starting to think I need more Sailor King of Pens in my collection, and I don't know. I'm not one to go for the black pens, and I'm not that keen on the clear demonstrator pen. And then the other coloured versions tend to be pretty sky high. There is a red version of the Pro Gear that came out, I think, a year ago. but it's not a colour that I'm really into. I'd prefer it to be more this red than the red that the Sailor King of Pen is. But maybe if they come out with more colours, maybe if they come out with a purple or a lilac or a blue or a green, different colour green, then, or even a better red, then maybe I will pick some of those up in the future at some point and add them to my collection. So that's my currently inked pens this week. Let's go and do a writing sample. So the first pen is a Pelikan M1000 Warden Starlight. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I did say that I'm not as keen on these M1000 nibs compared to maybe the Armando Simone Club nibs or the Visconti nibs, but I do still like how these write. So this is the Pelikan M1000 Warden Starlight, and it is a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib, but you can see here that it's actually quite a broad nib. So for me, I do find that this is not a medium, even though it's designated a medium nib. Now the ink in here is Pilot Iroshizuku Inner Ho, which for me is a very nice greeny gold coloured ink. If I can show you here, that's what the ink looks like. The next pen is the Pelikan M1000 Warden Sunlight. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now, strangely enough, this nib does write a little bit more like a medium nib in terms of the nib width. It's still a very, very super wet nib. So this is a Pelikan M1000 Warden Sunlight. And it's a medium 18 karat gold nib, and then the ink in here is Franklin Christoph Sweet Maroon, which is a gorgeous maroon coloured ink. The next pen is the Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra Africa. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now, these are very wet writing nibs. So this is the ASC Bologna Extra Africa, and it is a medium 18 karat gold nib, and then the ink in here is Diatramentis Chocolate, which is a really lovely dark chocolatey ink. The next pen is the Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra, and this is the black and gold Lucians. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And again, these nibs tend to write very, very wet. But I do love how they write. So this is the ASC Bologna Extra, and it's the black and gold Lucians. It's a medium 18 karat gold nib, and the ink in here is KWZ Honey, but that is a beautiful, beautiful honey coloured ink. The next pen is the Visconti St. Basil. do an ink swatch here. And this is more of a medium nib, and it is a medium nib, but it is a 23 cat palladium nib. So it does have a little bit of a bounce. So this is the Visconti St. Basil, and it is a medium 23 cat palladium nib, and the ink in here is Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red, which is an ink now that is actually out of production with Mont Blanc. So if you want that ink, try and be quick, because once it's sold out at retailers, it's sold out for good. Unless, of course, Mont Blanc decide to bring it back. The next pen is the Visconti Homo Sapiens Midnight in Florence. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is another medium nib. I'd say this one, even though it's a 23 cat palladium nib, tends to write a little bit wider than maybe the St. Basil. So this is the Visconti, and it's the Homo Sapiens Midnight in Florence, and it is a medium, and it's a 23 cat palladium nib, and then the ink in here is KWZ Gummy Berry. And I have to say, actually, I don't have a lot of KWZ inks. I have the Gummy Berry, I have the Honey, I have the Old Gold, I have the, is it the Thief's Red, and the Grapefruit. And all of those I really do love, and it's actually making me want to get more KWZ inks, because I do not have a lot of KWZ inks. The next pen is the Pilot Custom Urushi in the Vermilion. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now this is a medium nib. Well, actually it's a fine medium, I should say. And to me it writes a lot more like a fine nib. So this is the Pilot Custom Urushi Vermilion, and it is a fine medium nib, and it is an 18 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here is again Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red, which is one of a number of Mont Blanc inks that I do like a lot. And because I only realised in the summer of this year that the Corn Poppy Red and also the Oyster Grey have now stopped being in production as of 2019, a year ago, I decided to buy another 3 bottles. So I've now got 4.5, almost 5 bottles of Corn Poppy Red, because it's a red ink that I do like a lot, and I have been using a lot in a number of pens. And then we have the Sailor King of Pen Pro Gear in the Ocean. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a Sailor medium nib, which, being an Asian nib, tends to be a Western fine, or very close to a Western fine. So you can just see how fine that nib is. So this is the Sailor King of Pen Pro Gear Ocean limited edition, and it is a medium, and it's a 21 carat gold nib, because that's what Sailor do. Very few companies actually have 21 carat gold nibs, but Sailor is one of them. And then the ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, and it's Aqua Marine. I was going to actually start that with a Q for some reason. I'm not too sure why, but that's definitely Aquamarine. And then last but not least, we have the Sailor King of Pen, and this is the Sakura Nagar maki-e rod, and it's such a stunning pen. And I love to actually look at this pen when it's on the desk and I go to pick it up before I write with it. So this is a broad nib, and it tends to write a little bit more, really, I'd say, to a Visconti medium, but Visconti mediums tend to be more broad anyway, so I guess it probably, in terms of Western, it's more of a medium broad. So this is the Sailor King of Pen, and it's the Sakura Nagar, and it is a medium. Actually, sorry, it's a broad. I said it was a broad, didn't I? Not a medium. 21 carat gold nib. I was actually just thinking when I was writing that this actually isn't that far off, to be honest. It's maybe twice the line variance, but it to me looks like more of a medium, but it is a broad. And then the ink in here is KWZ, and this is Grapefruit, which is a lovely orangey red, or reddish orange, depending on how you want to look at it. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have a Pelican M1000 Raden Starlight in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Pilot Washizuku in a hoe. We have a Pelican M1000 Raden Sunlight in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Franklin Christoph Sweet Maroon. We have an Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra Africa in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diatra Mentis Chocolate. We have an Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra Black and Gold Lucents in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with KWZ Honey. We have a Visconti St. Basil in a medium 23 karat palladium nib, inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens Midnight in Florence in a medium 23 karat palladium nib, inked up with KWZ Gummy Berry. We have a Pilot Custom Urushi in the Vermilion with a fine medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Sailor King of Pen Pro Gear Ocean Limited Edition in a medium 21 karat gold nib, inked up with Pelican Edelstein Aquamarine. And then we have a Sailor King of Pen Sakura Nagar in a broad 21 karat gold nib, inked up with KWZ Grapefruit. So there you have it. That's my currently inked pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.